Morning and good afternoon. This is Shirley with Spirit of Matter, starting in the moon hour, talking about the full moon in Aries. This is actually already a Mars night, so no longer a Venus day. The ascendant is Mercury ruled with Mercury already direct. I see here being the most um, the most angular planet. This is very interesting. So, and the midheaven ruled by Jupiter in 7 degrees Pisces, with Jupiter in the 12th house in Taurus. So, Moon is in Libra, separating from an opposition to Neptune. And Sun and Uranus dancing on the 22nd degree of Virgo and Taurus, respectively. Let's, without further ado, go to the next lunation, the new moon in Aries. So the full moon in Aries. Now, full moon in Aries, September 29, depending on where you are, 2023. We have lunation in 6 degrees, Sun in 6 degrees Libra, and the moon in 6 degrees opposing it, which is a full moon. Venus immediately is Leo, squaring the Uranus in 22 degrees Taurus that we have right now. And that's probably why I got to talk about this today. So, Venus is ruling the Sun, and Mars is on 21 degrees Libra, ruling the Moon, and getting very auspiciously close to Ketu. So this is a full moon. It is the last lunation on the Aries Libra scale that we're going to have. That is not an eclipse for the time being. And okay, what I like, let's begin to what I like about this lunation. Moon Aries. Okay, Moon in Aries, even though the ruler is not in the best position, detrimental, but Moon in Aries in itself is excited, is safe in acting forward, is safe in making a decision. But Mars is in Libra, which is the sign of being indecisive. So there's a bit of a desire perhaps to sever ties with the past, to choose to move. But this can be an action of severing ties with the past. However, Mars in Libra is indecisive. So Mars does not have the, it's either black or white. It's here or there. We need to decide what to do. It's here or there. Now we get to decide. While full moon can be about letting go and releasing, Mars in Libra is in no way about making an actual decision. Mars in Libra is usually where things are a bit decided for you, or you bounce back of a decision because you don't really, I'll give you a simple example. I've been trying to pick lipstick and I'm like, I need a change. I need some new colors. It's like the colors are beautiful. They're beautiful on me, but I feel like I desire something different. And I was just looking at all the lipsticks and not buying anything. And at one point I just bought an eyeshadow. That's Mars in Libra. Okay, it doesn't make a decision. It tries all the options, it weights and balances, it looks, it observes on really the simplest things, like color, texture, energy even, depending on the house. and then it doesn't make a decision. Okay? So, what I have to tell you about this full moon is basically you're letting go of making a decision. You're letting go of making a decision, and that is timely because there are going to be two eclipses on October. One of them with, Venus, with Taurus. There's the Venus that is going to govern that, but in Taurus, and the other one um, in Libra, with the nodes still being in Libra and Aries already, with Aries, the asteroid, being involved in these eclipses, Rahu conjuncting Aries. So, what's the decision now? Like, how can you make a decision now when you're gonna have something that's going to really be like something fate is going to happen with Venus and Mars on October twice. So Mars in general is indecisive in Libra, and now before the eclipses is kind of like everything is leading up to perhaps wanting to sever ties, but you're still being indecisive. The real the real stuff is going to happen around October, around the eclipses. So perhaps you're letting go of making a decision here. Perhaps you're letting go of actually having to um, choose, having to discern, assert, decide. You're just kind of like choosing to not choosing, or letting go of choice. You could be making a random choice that is not impossible. The nature of the moon is impulsive in Aries, but all in all, this is not the Mars that severs ties. It's the Mars that unfortunately can get into a bit of a crisis, or a fated event happens and then you're just like, okay, that happened. So the sun in Libra is also, it's not exalted. The sun in Libra the sun is where you shine. It's the center of the universe. Libra is the scale. How can you put the center on the universe on a scale, and what would balance that scale? Okay, this is why sun in Libra can suffer a lot of feeling even dissociated from the self by the inherent placement of having to be put on the scale where it's not something that you can compare something with. It is also our egos. Like, how can we put our ego on the scale with another and have this great confusion between, what seems like a balanced relationship ending up being people pleasing or sacrificing too much, or what seems like a balanced relationship even ending up with us being self-obsessed. And that's not by malefic. It's just the inherent nature of the need to balance something that is incomparable, and that is the sun. So, and again, Mars has this quality, but in a different way, because Mars is the one. Okay, Aries is one, the first, the one, the best. And now you have to put this Mars on the scale with another Mars and compare the two. And Mars also governs phallic things, and that you understand the intricacy, like you understand how that can be really fucked up or weird, and lead you into like how can you compare that phallus or that with that phallus, or how can you compare that that side of the decision or that side of the decision, how can you make a decision where both sides of the coin are kind of like either you like both sides of the coin or like you don't like, but it's kind of like how can you make a decision? How could you put the one on the scale with another? And that is a very problematic place for Mars to be, but it's also not a useless place for Mars to be. It's also the place where the action has to align itself with, if Mars is about doing what's right, then the scale of measuring what would be the right action is not something that is, horrible um, to have. But then that scale is not so decisive. In the best of cases, you could assess the opportunities and make a decision. I don't predict that to be the case. Okay? I don't predict that to be the case. If it is a relationship decision that you have to make, it kind of like are going to let the eclipses do it for you. And it is right in doing so, because you could make like this bold decision. You could actually be satirical with yourself because you make this bold decision. I'm leaving this person. I don't want this person in my life. I'm letting go of this person. I'm choosing me. Only for the eclipses to kind of like, that's not over yet. You still have something to go through together. Or for the eclipses to like completely, part ways, but then discover that that person was planning to leave anyway, and you're just kind of, you know, you know, this is very weird. Okay, so let the eclipses do what they came here to do. This full moon is perhaps the beginning of the desire to let go that is going to be fully accentuated on the eclipses. Eclipses usually is kind of like, that is out of your life, that is in your life. Now that goes out to make way for this. Okay, so with both the Sun and Mars being in the sign of indecision, I don't predict you to make a final decision. It's not something that cannot happen. It's just something that I don't predict for you to have, and I wouldn't want you to linger on in the fantasy that you're going to be decisive on the 29th of December and say, I put an end to it. No, October puts an end to it and a beginning to something else. So, the ruler of Mars, Ketu, and the Sun is 22 degrees Venus in Leo. And what is the 22nd degree? If you've been listening to this podcast, you know that the 22nd Nicholas Stoyanovich degree theory is about the unnatural death. Okay. Now, because this is Venus in Leo, it can be a performance about, a song about, a story about, stuff like that. Okay, it doesn't mean that, God forbid, anybody is killed. On a mundane level, unfortunately, this is not the best time for anybody Venusian leaders, Venusian performers, or Venusian singers, or Venusian, queens. So that is where people want to use the protection that they have. It's also squaring the 22nd degree Uranus. And I already said that I want to, in other videos, that I want you to allocate some money for the Uranus Venus square, because you're not going to be sleeping so well, and the 22nd degree is downright scary. The Sun is in the 22nd degrees trining Uranus right now, but the square is really intense. Okay, this is a trine, and in the trine we still had like mundane events. I didn't publish even the episode, but it is not lovely. Even in the trine, the square creates an extra excitement. So Uranus Venus is electric. Uranus Venus on the 22nd degree is having a lethal part to that. This is the Uranus Venus that I would not prescribe to anyone. So this is the one that you definitely wanting to use all of your Al-Qaeda talismans, Al-Gold talismans, shielding and protection talismans. Um, that's not looking pretty. And unfortunately, full moons are culmination of something. Okay? On a mundane level, it's not looking pretty, to say the least. It's a transient thingy, but this is a part of where the Uranus 22 meets a 22 planet in a square, which is very intense. And um, yeah, like I don't want to keep on, talking about this energy, but it's not favorable. And so I'm not going to gaslight you that it won't exist. Um, so yeah, and Venus is ruling both Mars, the Sun, and Ketu. Okay, particularly now it's more like Mars and the Sun. It's not an eclipse just yet, um, but it is in the shade of eclipses, and it is, a full lunation ruled by this Mars that is Venus. Um, and Venus is also ruling this Uranus and Jupiter. So Jupiter retrograde, but Uranus on the 22. There can be little women leaders. Okay, little women leaders. It can simply be, some singers performs with, blood rituals, kind of Doja Cat kind of thingy. But I do not fool myself that it won't be also other things on a mundane level. Here, it seems like the the woman or the Venusian is taken apart in that lethality. Um, but there's also correspondence, because just it can be rebellion between women that can be lethal. Okay, maybe something like that. Um, and it's not a nice. It's like, yes, there is a reception between the Sun and Venus. I really liked it when Victor addressed one of these like such receptions. I think it was the Moon and Mars, as an, how do you say it? There's the mutual deception. Okay, mutual deception. And I borrow that mutual deception. This is not a mutual reception, it's a mutual deception. Here, where the Sun is in Libra and Venus is in Leo. So Sun ruled Venus and Venus ruled Sun. It's a mutual deception. The Sun is in detriment and Venus is on the 22nd degree. So, yeah, it's there are better lunations to look forward to. Now, how will you and your life be affected by it? Well, I call it the waiting out. Okay, your job to do is the waiting out, the shielding and protecting yourself. You can work with algal, you can work with Al-Qaeda, you have the Renaissance astrology talismans, or you can work with those in energy, in whichever way you choose. That is the waiting out, okay? Because something culminates, but kind of doesn't. And there are also lethal stuff going on around the planets involved with this formation. So, and an outer planet involved, which is Uranus, outer planet to inner planets. So, whenever it pops for you, pay attention to this Uranus. Okay, pay attention to this Uranus. It's a part of a mini generation. It's kind of like 7 years of Uranus in Taurus, doing things. Okay, Uranus doing things. You know, the Beyonce doing things, but now it's Uranus doing things. Uranus is famous, and it's doing things. So, what is Uranus doing, and how does that relate to you? Is it doing biodiversity in your backyard? Is it doing social credit score in your country? Yikes. Is it doing unnatural natural disasters that jail people for no reason and try to get to take a hold of their lands and their real estates? Is it doing you know, and with the 22nd degree, it's lethal in its action. So Uranus in general, even Uranus square Venus, is kind of like it's attraction repulsion. It's kind of like you get too close, it repels. You get a bit farther, it attracts, and you kind of go into that electricity. It's kind of electrified, something that is actually an electric charge that is liberating, that is enlightening, that is important to have in life, even if it's a bit annoying. It makes something in your life worthwhile, and usually unless you're one of the relationships that bear this, harvest this, usually it is for a while, so that both of you are kind of like uh, orgasmically exploding into a new path in life, okay? And that can very well be an affair, and so on. But with the 22nd degree, it's doing something lethal. So this is where we would prefer to not be involved with this, but we also want to make sure that we work with the energies that could support this preference, okay? Like Algol protecting you from magic, from harm in spirit and in matter. Like Al-Qaeda protecting you from physical harm, from assassination, from all things 22, okay, degree of any sign. Uh, that's good. That's good to know. That's good to know. Okay, that's good to petition these energies. That's good to form relationship, to learn about those, to honor the things that these beings rule. Um, so this for you is going to be the waiting out. And because it involves Leo, Libra, Aries, and Taurus, and to a lesser degree Scorpio, then we could always kind of like, what is the point of me making it's not an occurrence. It's like, oh, this is going to happen in your Aries house, pay attention, and so on and so forth. To some degree, yes, but it's going to light up a couple of houses, and while not necessarily given as a resolution, hopefully not giving it because the resolution here is not the one that we want. So, and I'll avoid like cliches around this. So let's take a look at some asteroids first. Some asteroids. So we're gonna have Pallas Athena with the Sun, and Pallas Athena just ingressed into Libra, all the while Ceres ingressed into Scorpio. And a big shout out to Empress Atlantis, is that Empress Atlantis, for her asteroids post. Okay, so Vesta ingressed into Cancer, Pallas into Libra, and Ceres into Scorpio. I definitely felt that Ceres ingress. I can't talk about it because I have 0 degrees Pluto, and of course it ingressed into creating an event that is of a hidden nature that I cannot share. But that was very notable. And Pallas here is with the Sun, opposing the moon. Okay, just 1 degree from the sun. And so that's a very tight conjunction. If you hear even Marin Altman talking about this, you know that that's a very tight conjunction. And thanks Marin Altman for the shout out to make this like episode. It's like, oh, there's a full moon coming up. I'm like, oh yeah, let's look at it. So, um, Pallas conjuncting the sun. What is Pallas? Pallas, and I have a bit of a different description of Pallas and Marin. Pallas is Xena the warrior, is the righteous feminist rage. It's the woman that um, both was, it's like her beauty was surpassed by Gorgon, and she was kind of like holding the card of righteousness. Um, and she, albeit being kind of like Xena the warrior, she also had a righteous rage, and she also needed to be cautious about stigmas she had towards Medusa Gorgon. So with Pallas in Libra, we can have just that experience. It's that righteous feminine rage that is needed. Okay, it's like, what if you're not standing to the beauty standards of society? Does that mean you do not deserve to like make a decent income or something like that? All the while, Medusa Gorgon is going to say, the fuck is she talking about? The fuck does she know what it's like to not be able to say yes, no, and maybe when it is called for? Like, the fuck is this woman bitching about? And both have a point there. Okay, so Pallas needs to remove the stigma around what it's like to be an attractive woman, or to think that attractive women have all doors open up for them without any like hazard on the way. All the while, Pallas does have a point there where her righteous rage has also something just. It's like, while you still deal with the harassment that comes with, let's say, being a woman or a trans woman or whatnot, you're not having the open doors effect that you would have had you been able to beautify yourself or to look at a certain way. That is very much Pallas in Libra. It is also, how are you being treated in trade and in the eyes of the law, as relation to perhaps your looks, your beauty, or even the notion of being beautiful and being intelligent, or having stigma because you're beautiful that you're not intelligent, or people only appreciating your intelligence but not appreciating your beauty. And it's like all the combination of these things. And Pallas has a bit of a righteous rage there. That some of it is kind of like the feeling of being surpassed, whether it's right or wrong, but some of it is actually essentially right. She's also fighting for things that are right. And when it's Venus ruled, we need to think about what are those things. Unfortunately, with this particular one, and because Venus is in the 22nd degree of Leo, it could be, why do we look into the murder of these women and not into the murder of those women? Or why do we look into that serial killer because she's more attractive and that serial killer doesn't get enough discussion? This is a very Libra conversation that we could be having with Pallas here. And full moon is also full exposure. So we're something is letting into wherever the Aries Libra axis is in our chart. And here with the moon opposing Pallas and Pallas next to the sun, it can be some sort of that righteous feminist, or righteous lethal feminist, or performer, or a trans woman, or there's just so many things that this one can be. So full exposure around the Venusian character or event. Anything more, we have conjuncting something. Well, Aries is with Rahu, not yet activated. Venus on the 22nd, she is trining it. Aries is a planet, and so Venus trining Aries matters. Aries is a planet. Um, and Venus is conjuncting Juno on the 22nd degree. Juno. Okay, Juno was the wife of Zeus, if I'm not mistaken. She was the wife of Zeus. And she was the faithful wife of a very cheating husband. Juno, in some cultures, is associated also with the peacock um, and the deity. I think I'm not sure if it is Diana or it's just like the Juno is a deity that protects those faithful women that are married and unfortunately not always to a faithful man. Um, but the 22nd degree here is troubling. Like, it can be around fidelity. In any way, please call and I'll go for this, okay? If it's in any way related to relationships, ruling relationship houses, so ascendant Scorpio, ascendant Aries, ascendant Aquarius, even where Venus would be in your seventh house. This is a matter for the most potent of protective magic, and by all means necessary protective, if that is the case. Um, Hope we're not gonna hear about some more cases of lethality of spouses around marriage or divorce. Unfortunately, that looks like that, and I hate to say, but unfortunately, that is something that I do see here. And so this Venus 22 is trining Aries. That can mean, it can be a woman that decides to murder the husband who threatened to kill her. It's kind of like rising up to kill him before he kills her. And in that way, it kind of trines with Aries, who is doing the discord, playing the discord cards, like, the police doesn't care about me being threatened. I will kill him. Um, and it's not a suicide here. It's intentional, like, stuff, killing, um, so that I will not be killed. Okay, I will rise up to kill him instead of being killed, and that ended up being very public and exposed, and in that, like, feminist rage or just human being rage, like, you do what you have to do to survive. Um, so I would not be surprised if I'll see something like that. Um, I well, there is this sextile to Mars here. Is it like a mass shooting? I don't think so. Um, but if it is, it's kind of like, I don't know. It could also be women between women, like lethality of women and women, um, something like that, or women, women fighting. No, I don't think it's not. It's not the Mars thingy. It's the Venus thingy. So yeah, and that trying to Rahu and Aries. Um, is important. Venus has been on this degree, and she has been on this degree twice, okay? And now she's coming up for the third and final time of going through this degree. So let us all be safe and sound when that happens. I don't see a point to go over each and every sign. I think for many of you, it's going to be something you hear about on the news. not so much something that you hear about somebody that you know on the news. Um, but for some of you, it's kind of like this is a time to pull up every protection that you have. Libra ascendant, of course, ascendant and to a lesser degree sun and moon. Like, do your magic, girl. Do your magic, or boy. So yeah. Um, that's the lunation. Okay. Do you have anything on the fixed stars that we want to take a look at here? Oh, not the lots. The fixed stars. So yes, we do. Algorab. Oh, this is the midheaven. Zarya Dasi. Okay. Lilith getting very close to Regulus. Almach with Jupiter. Matter with Neptune. Well, there is this Zania Edasi being suspiciously close to the sun. What is Zarya Edasi? Astrology. So yeah, nothing. Zarya, Zania. She doesn't even find that. Zania, perhaps I'll just write Zania. Fixed star Zania. Okay. And yes, 4 degrees Libra has an 30, and the sun is, I think the sun is out of orb, but let's just take a look at it just in case. Eta Virenis looks like a single star, but it's a triple star system on the upper left arm of Maiden Virgo constellation. So Libra tropical sign, Virgo constellation. Its corner in China represents the left law administrator. The left law administrator. So again, tropical Libra has to do with law. Leftist here spelled Sohifa, by Allen, meaning the left-hand maintainer of law. Indicates a Venus nature. According to Ptolemy, this is the nature of Mercury and Venus, to Alvidas of Venus and Mercury in sextile. Gives us refinement, honor, congeniality, order, and lovable nature. This is for natal charts. Variable white star. Gives the native love of orderliness, a love of refinement, congeniality, honors, and a lovable nature. Okay, so it's something happening to a very lovely leader that could be a woman or a trans woman, a judge or a model, or or a businesswoman. But it's okay. Either she has something not pretty to survive, or something like that. Have good astrological reputation, following closely their natures as indicated. Okay. Well, this is Virgo. This constellation. Let's take a look. Well, Sun Uh, Popular social interest, much pleasure, favorable for marriage. Not with this one. Native can become interested in subjects that have little concern to the average person. Visionary, possibly misplaced ideas. Unless early training was positive nature, they could be very congenial unless aroused. Well aspected, if well aspected, a talent for negotiating and peace, and the intuition for knowing to call a halt to a battle, and either offer or seek terms for peace. So, oh, that's what Maren talked about when she talked about this new moon being like is a person who dislikes conflict ending up in a conflict where they even have to do or voice some lethal, it could be a song, but it can also be the downright conflict that is happening. um, in the best of cases, it could be art around murder or music around murder. I'm thinking even about, yeah, Marin's songs or Marin's music, like working with blood and stuff. She has Venus in Leo, but I don't remember the degree. It's more like Mars there. So it can be an art that portrays lethal stuff like murder or something like that, or in this case, not suicide, or more like murder. And we get it in the artistic performance. That can be at odds with a certain revolution, so it can trigger people. I don't know, or it can be like appropriation even, or some controversy around this art. This is in the very best of cases, okay? The performative version of it is in the very best of cases, but it can be a way to maintain the peace for a while if it works. So that is the way I would look at this lunation, from the perspective of, we started with the moon hour, and now we're in Saturn. Of course, we're going to emphasize on the doom and gloomy. In the best of cases, this is art, but this is in the best of cases. I don't predict you to have like this clear cut decision. It's more for the eclipses to do. um, and I do want you to allocate your resources and understand you will not have a good night's sleep on the 29th, both because it's a full moon, both because of the square between Uranus and Venus, and the lethal degree. So you will not have a peaceful night's sleep. It means you will not be able to function at work the way you would like to. It means you have to replan this ahead of time, and it also means you're going to want to eat something unusual for comfort food, or you're going to have an unusual comfort food, and you're going to want to make a certain purchase that's unusual, or travel some places unusual. It's going to cost you money, and so you want to plan ahead for this, because um, you don't think you can just save through this transit. Don't think you can just be on budget with this one energetically, not in terms of your resources, not in terms of your fiscal resources. So plan ahead. You might be called in for like an emergency call regarding some Venusian figure in your life or solar figure in your life. So again, lots of expenses, lots of desire to have comfort food, lots of electric interest in stuff that are unusual for you to find interest in, and can be lethal. Um, the content can be lethal, or there can be a danger around that, and that is, the more you can plan ahead and not think you can just like, oh, this probably means that you should close your wallet and not spend any money. It's not gonna happen. Okay, plan ahead if you can. If not, it's not possible for all people. Um, so that when the time comes, you're like you're not surprised that this happening. You knew that this was coming, and you've already managed to do whatever you can to ease that money splurge, resource splurge, um, and this is an excitatory, very electric, very excitatory full moon, by the merit of the ruler Venus opposing this, squaring this Uranus. So that is what I have to say. Yes, the moon in Aries is optimistic. It likes action. It feels safe doing things that does not do not seem safe, like athletic activity that is impulsive, but it kind of makes it feel at home or safe or self-care in this way. That's the upright thing about this moon. But as you can see, this lunation has a ruler, and this ruler has a sextile, and this sextile is with the 22-degree. So I don't see a point of going over sign to sign. I hope you found this useful. I hope it will be more something you hear about on the news or a song that you write rather than anything unusual. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel. Like that you're here. You can leave a nice comment in the comments, and we'll see each other in the next video. Bye bye.